Well, hey there, Bloopies. How you doing? I haven't talked to you for a little while. I don't think I've talked to you since around Halloween time, when I was doing all this silly stuff about ghosts being in my house and using all those sound effects and whatnot. And, now that that's over. Okay, now what? Interesting. Anybody lose a giant lizard? So hey Spigots, did you know that the Godzilla noise was public domain? I found that out. Of course, you probably know because I found that out on the website where you and I get a lot of our sound effects. Sound Bible! Anyway, so I need to talk to you guys about the wedding. I might split this up in several parts if it gets too long. I might do other vlogs later on and tell you some other stories, but I wanted to tell you the main story anyway. Now, I'm not going to name names in a lot of this because I'm going to be a little critical about certain people that were there, and I don't want to, name names. I don't want to be mean because part of the reason is because, well, I'll get into why after a while, but let's just say that before the wedding, I went out for lunch. I took myself out for lunch, and because Julie was gone. Julie was in Iowa City at her son's house. Her son's girlfriend was making the wedding dress, so she was gone, and I was here by myself from about 10 o'clock in the morning, and so I took myself out for lunch. And while I was out for lunch, I said a long prayer, and among the things I said was, you know what, God. Every wedding I've ever been to, I used to, I've been married a couple of times and been to a few weddings, and my brother and I used to DJ at wedding receptions and stuff, and I used to watch a lot of things like Judge Judy and People's Court. I know that, you see people like suing their caterer or suing the DJ or suing other people that were associated with the wedding, and I know that almost no wedding ever goes off completely perfect. There's always something that goes wrong. So I said, you know what, God? Whatever goes wrong tonight, let me face it with as much calmness and sense of humor as I possibly can, because whatever it is, we'll get through it and we'll get married anyway, right? So, that's the kind of, mental attitude I went into it. I was very calm. My parents were going to be here at 4 o'clock to pick me up. So they got here at 4:45, which I knew they would be early, so I was ready. And we went over to the tuxedo place and picked up my tuxedo. I kind of anticipated there would be some problems. They'd want to do some last-minute fitting or whatever, but no, it was ready. So we got to the church really early. The wedding was supposed to start at 6, and pictures were supposed to start at 5. So we got there about 10 after 4. And the only person that was there was Gene, who plays the guitar in the praise band, one of the guitar players. Anyway. So he led us in the church, and he showed my parents around the church a little bit, and then they were hungry. They wanted to go out and get a hamburger sandwich, and so by the time that this happened, my brother was there. He was there with his picture-taking equipment. He was going to take the photos for the wedding, so he brought his cameras and stuff, and he shot some video. Hopefully, I'll be able to show that to you eventually. I haven't seen it yet myself, but I've seen the pictures. I'm waiting. He's got them copyrighted, so I'm waiting for him to give me permission to show them. I'm sure he will, but it's just like one of those things. Anyway, whatever. Moving on. So it got to be about 4:30. I said, I'm gonna go put on my costume, my tuxedo. I had tails and everything, and thank God Gene was there because I couldn't figure out the bow tie. It's been a long time since I've worn a tuxedo. I've only worn them twice in my life, and I couldn't figure out the bow tie. And so I came back up, and by that time, a few people from the praise band, a few other people were there, and I still couldn't figure out the bow tie. And so I was trying to, and people kept saying, well, you have to slip it over your head. So I was trying to slip this thing over my head, and I've got a big fat head, So I couldn't get it down over my head, and our friend Amy, who plays in the praise band, she does keyboards, and she sings like an angel, and she did a lot of the music for the wedding. If you guys get to see the wedding video, you'll hear her sing. She sings really well, and she's like, well, why don't you just wear it as a headband? which was okay with me, but I figured Julie wouldn't like that. Well, thank God Gene understands bow ties. He's a little bit more cultured than I am, so he figured it out for me, and we got it on, so the wedding could proceed, because now I was fully dressed. And problem was, it was getting close to 5 o'clock, and Julie still wasn't there. And, my brother had all these questions about where to set up the cameras and stuff, and I didn't really know. And people kept asking me questions about, where do I put this, where do I put that? Advice, men, listen to this. Those single men who have not been married, or anybody who plans on getting married again, or what have you, listen. All through this process of getting the wedding together, I only really was focused on 3 things. I just wanted to get married. Really, I just wanted to get married. For 3 or 4 different reasons. I didn't really care about the wedding itself. I wasn't really all that involved in the planning. So, I was letting Julie do everything. And everybody kept saying, hey, great idea. Let Julie do everything. The problem with that is, man, if you let your bride do all the planning and then you show up early for the wedding and she's not there, you've got all these people asking all these questions you don't have the answer for. Because you don't know what's going on. So, I just, like, every time I turn around, somebody's like, what does Julie want to do with this? What does Julie want done with that? And I'm like, I don't know. You'll have to ask her when she gets here. By then, Pastor Jim was there, our pastor, and I went and hid out in his office for a while because people were just driving me nuts.